First, though, the NFL last night. The marquee matchup of the weekend, Super Bowl rematch. The Eagles somehow beat the Chiefs in the end, 21-17. That hurt for me, not only bet-wise, but also contest-wise. I had the Chiefs in this one. And we will focus on the main points of this game because if you missed it, boy, oh boy, the Chiefs have no one to blame but themselves in this one. First of all, 7-7 game. This is after Jalen Hurts was picked by L'Jarius Sneed. We're talking second quarter now. The Chiefs matriculate. They have it 1st and 10 at the Philly 14. This is a tie game at 7. Mahomes picked by Kevin Byard in the end zone. That was 6:45 left in the second quarter. It was intended for Justin Watson, who had scored earlier. That was a bad pass by Patrick Mahomes. Let's start there.
Yep.
Underthrown. If he had gone wide and deep, that might be a touchdown. So the first sort of demerit goes to Patrick Mahomes himself. But the Chiefs do rebound in that second quarter and in that first half, and they end up with a 17-7 lead at the half. By the way, did you see the spike that set up the field goal, Harrison Butker's field goal to end the half? Do you see that Jalen Carter almost picked off that spike?
So I feel like I've brought this up multiple times. I'm the guy that, especially if there's NBA games going on, I know what's going on towards the end of the half, right? I'm jumping around channels, so I missed it in live action. I saw I saw it all over social media later, though.
It's a pretty amazing attempt.
It's okay. My first 5 times watching it, my reaction was, yo, this is amazing. Like, this is amazing.
It's amazing.
But then, you know what? On the 6th time watching it, this is where I'm going to go poo-poo things again.
Yeah.
Do you really think Patrick Mahomes spiking a ball into the ground like a defensive tackle, even if with your hands right there, that's still a very difficult ball to corral and actually catch?
Of course it is, but the quarterback does have to throw it somewhat forward.
Yeah.
And I just marvel at anything new that we've never seen before.
Me too. It was very, very cool, yes.
Check mark
and it was there.
For creativity on that. Anyway, the Chiefs go into the half 17-7. They're up. 10 KC points after the 2-minute warning. Nick Sirianni tried to, correctly manipulate the timeouts when Kansas City had the ball, when they got it to 14-7 on that drive. But it was a Philly 3-and-out where Hurts was sacked on a couple plays. This was and then the Chiefs got the ball back to get that field goal. So 17-7 at the half, and it looked like for those who had the Chiefs, okay, good position. Maybe they can coast in here for the victory and the cover. The second half, though, started out with, a trade of punts. First of all, Philly with a 3-and-out, then a Kansas City punt, then a couple 3-and-outs that both teams traded. And then it's when this is where it started to get. So Philly then makes it 17-14. They had a 7-play, 61-yard drive, only took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Hurts in from 10. 17-14, Kansas City with 4:05 left in the third quarter. And here's where the shenanigans really started for Kansas City. And remember that Mahomes' failure on the would-be touchdown pass to Justin Watson earlier. So this is the fourth quarter now. Kansas City has 4th and inches in Philly territory. Pacheco goes for 2. The next play, Mahomes to Kelsey. This is deep in Philadelphia territory. Hit by Bradley Roby. Kelsey spins. Hit by Bradley Roby, he fumbles. It's recovered by Nicholas Morrow of the Eagles. So inside the red zone, there's a turnover, the second turnover for the Kansas City Chiefs in this ballgame, the first that Mahomes pick. I don't know if you started getting these, but as soon as Kelsey fumbled that ball, what was he doing in Buenos Aires over the bye week? Was he not paying attention to football? Those texts started rolling in right at that moment on cue.
Yeah.
As soon as he fumbled that football.
I'm never going to be a part of that. You do what you want on your bye week. I don't care. Well, that is.
Yeah. That's two red zone turnovers. Philly then has a 3-and-out. So Kansas City does get the ball back. Here's where they get it to the Philadelphia 39-yard line. 4th and 4. 9:04 to go in the game. They're up 3. And Andy Reid, without seemingly any equivocation, brings out the punt unit. A touchback, which nets you 19 yards total. Before he even brings out the punt unit, everyone who watches football with any sort of, game, with any sort of knowledge, is like, you got to go for this here. It's 2023. We all know you go for it here. Not Andy Reid. He punted it there, which was super curious. Buck and Aikman say nothing nothing about it.
Oh.
And you're just like, okay, good God, what am I watching here? And, of course, the Eagles immediately matriculate the ball down the field, 80 yards. Hurts took his push from the one after a Hurts to Devonta Smith, 41-yard pass. And the Eagles lead this one for the first time, 21-17, 6:20 to go. Kansas City would have a 3-and-out. Philly would start with 5:28 to go. They would be forced to punt after a big holding call on Jordan Mailata. Chiefs started their own 9 with 2:49 to go with one timeout now. They end up with a 4th and 2 at their own 18. That after a Kelsey drop. Q more texts about Buenos Aires and Taylor Swift. Then Mahomes to Kelsey for 4. They do convert on that. Then Mahomes to Kelsey for 13. 15 added on a roughing the passer call on Fletcher Cox with 1:56 to go. And you're like, okay, here we go. The Chiefs are going to get this done. But 2nd and 10 from their own 49. Mahomes deep to Valdez-Scantling behind Bradley Roby. Going to be a touchdown off his hands. One of 5 drops on the night. One more would be coming. That would be one of 4 at that point for the Chiefs. This has been plaguing them all season. They lead the NFL with 26 drops. The next closest team is the Jets with 20. That was the 4th of 5 on the night. That one, though, to Valdez-Scantling, the most brutal. They could have won the game with that one. And then after an intentional grounding call, Chiefs left the 4th and 25 at their own 34 with 1:35 to go. That one off of Justin Watson's hands. Ball game, 21-17 Philly. 26 drops on the season, as I said. A season-high 5 drops in that ball game. 3 on the final drive because Kelsey had dropped one earlier. 2 red zone turnovers, as we mentioned. 1 drop touchdown included in that. And Kansas City now, going scoreless in the second half in this ballgame against the Eagles, has scored 5.3 points per second half this season. The Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs, including a grand total of 0 points in the second half the last 3 weeks versus Denver, Miami, and Philly. That's out of control. You know who scored more points than the Kansas City Chiefs this year? The Cleveland Browns. Good God. Hurts, 14 of 22 for 150 in this game. Mahomes, 24 of 43 for 177. Kansas City outgained Philadelphia, 336 to 238. But it doesn't matter when you're dropping the ball all over the yard and you have a couple red zone turnovers. That's the ball game. Eagles get it done. Eagles go to 9-1. Chiefs go to 7-3. We'll do our power rankings later on in the show. But I guess the question here becomes this from a Chiefs perspective. Do you view the drops, again, something that has plagued them all season? Second half droughts have plagued them all season. It's particularly the last 3 weeks, total drought the last 3 weeks. But you view the plague of drops as something that, and especially last night when it was, let's take last night in a microcosm, that was 5. They don't ever have 5 in a game, especially key situations that they had them, and then the 2 red zone turnovers. Do you view that as a one-off anomaly for the Chiefs? In a season that has been plagued with those kind of errors, but that one was particularly a spate of errors last night. Do you view it as something that will plague them the rest of the way, or do you say, okay, it'll never be that bad again, and they still have the easiest schedule remaining of all AFC contenders the rest of the way? Which side do you land on that? The good or the bad? Where do you spin it?
I mean, look, with the offense and those drops, I don't think you can spin that a good way. I mean, it's this, like you said, it's been a problem all year. You didn't really go address it at the trade deadline. You've whiffed on these guys that you've brought in with Kadarius Toney and stuff. And it's I mean, Kelsey's all you got, and he's not getting any younger. Like, this is not going to be – it's just tough to watch. It's tough to watch when Mahomes – what did Mahomes say after the game? That he could have thrown the ball a little bit shorter to Valdez-Scantling.
He was trying to deflect off.
I'm like, what kind of leader and quarterback or level is he to say something like that when you put the ball right on him? And then on that 4th down rocket to Watson that hits him right there, they actually had a chance to complete, and he can't haul it in. I think it's an issue. I think on the positives I would be taking away if you are a Kansas City backer is this defense is for real. And like they keep proving it over and over again.
Yes.
And that's the one positive I would take away from this game. And yes, with that easy schedule down the stretch, are you still just going to be able to dominate some of these teams defensively and the drops not really be an issue? Yeah, I would probably look at it more that way.
Recognizing their issues on offense, I tend to spin it positively as much as you can.
Yeah,
Obviously,
right.
that was a disaster last night. But there's a reason why they're the favorite to still be the number one seed in the AFC. That has to do with strength of schedule. Patrick Mahomes and that defense, I'll still take him in Kansas City in the postseason, too. But that was tough last night for sure.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.